There's an overarching understanding of this industry in general that people should probably understand before they start making decisions. Even if that's to or to not work with prosperity movement, it's equally yoked there that you should do your due diligence and understand the big picture so that when you start focusing in on the details of understanding and implementation, you're actually going in the right direction that suits you and what you're capable of actually doing. And then understanding the competition or the markets in general and what you're actually trading or who you're trading against or how it's actually being traded. Those little things are important to know. I think gaining clarity on just the basics of the understanding is a great first step, but it's not the end all be all, right? So for example, I went through and I knew I wanted to do something in business. I was still going through college. I fell for that trap. And so I catch wind that there's some guy, he sells some really cool like men's care products like beard care. Apparently you can make your own. I started looking up the ingredients. I can make a tin of it for myself for like 75 cents. And I knew that it was like 20, 30 bucks to go to the store and buy one. And I was like, man, business idea. It worked really well. A few of my friends bought it, but then I really quickly ran into an issue. It was like, I don't know retail. I don't know logistics of shipping and stuff. And I don't know how to make a website. I don't know all these other things. Yeah. And I rushed into the actual implementation of it without having this clear plan around everything. That's what most people do with trading. They get really excited about the potential outcome, the fruit from planting the trees, but they have no idea how to grow those trees.
So what are the secrets? How do some of the most successful entrepreneurs find the freedom that we all got into business for in the first place? How did they find the time, energy, and resources to launch and scale strong? And how do entrepreneurs like us align our time, money, and energy in a way that will allow us to reach what we set out to achieve? These are the key questions, and this community will give you the answers. Welcome to the Prosperity Movement. Welcome to the Prosperity U podcast. Today we're going to talk about how we go from being lost in the woods with trading to finding your roadmap. And the first thing that I want to express on this is I know what it's like to be on the proverbial like hamster wheel going round and round, and we're going to get into that in our story. For those that are new on the podcast today, you're going to get a little bit of background on some of our history, on how we kind of came together as a team. And ultimately, the collective message that you're here for is our mission is very simple. We're here to help, families across the nations to drive more impact and income so they can ultimately do more of the things they love with the people they love most. This is what drove, our hearts to get into what we were doing during the pandemic. Zach and I met right before the pandemic. I was working at a marketing firm on the south side of Calgary, Alberta. I'm the crazy Canuck of the group. Zach lives in Chicago or just outside of Chicago. Travis lives in Idaho. And, Travis and I, we met I think it was over a decade ago at this point while I was on tour with the project.
4 years ago, yeah.
Music is one of my passions. I still love writing and recording music. So again, do more of the things you love with the people you love most. It's a big passion of mine. I love doing that at church. I love writing music, producing music, and these guys each have their own sets of passions, and so those are important pieces of the equation. Are you actually able to do more of the things you love with the people you love most? If not, time is your most valuable asset, and that's ultimately the currency that you have when you hit your deathbed. You're not going to be thinking about all the money that you have in the bank, although it's going to be nice to be able to leave something behind. It's the memories and the experiences that you have that are the most enriching pieces of your life. Ultimately, the money in the bank is not something that you can take with you. But the people that you cherish the most is ultimately the value, right? So our mission, vision, values is comprised of those 4 pillars of prosperity, where we talk about time as our most valuable asset, then your health. If you're not healthy, you don't have as much time. And then your relationships with people is really where, the big currency is. And then your legacy. What is the lasting legacy that you're leaving behind? And we want to live with intentionality surrounding these concepts and these ideas. And so ultimately trading is something that really allows us to drive more impact and income so we can experience those things. There are multiple other ways of doing that as well as we get into some of our diversification programs. But trading is a very efficient and effective way of doing that. And so we weren't always in the trading game. Again, like I had mentioned, I was working in a marketing firm on the south side of Calgary, and I was really hungry to get better at the craft. I had been in marketing and sales basically my whole life. I think everybody is. Would everybody agree that we're all in marketing and sales? If you're in the comments, I'd love to see you in the chat. Do you agree that we're all in marketing and sales? If you don't agree with me, I'm going to start asking you questions like, have you ever, asked somebody out to go to a movie? Are you married? If you are married, that was one of the biggest transactions that you've ever made in your life. Hey, if you have kids, there was a sales process to get to the point where you both, made that connection and boom, now you have children, right? It's just the reality. We're always in a constant exchange of time, money, and energy. And so I've been in a constant study of that and influence and all that kind of stuff. And that's when I got to meet Zach. When I first met him, he was a $10,000 a month coach. And he was working with a guy named Joel Bauer, who was considered the mentor of mentors, the most famous guy you've never heard of, I guess, that most people haven't, because he's worked with guys like Tony Robbins, Russell Brunson. The list goes on. Zach might be able to fill in a few other names that some of the people on the call here might recognize. What are some other names that
Dan Locke, Peng Joon, Joe Vitale, the author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul guy, that guy,
right?
All sorts of guys.
So Zach, when I first met him,
the other day, actually.
just built a company with Joel Bauer.
Donald Duck.
Oh, sorry. Go
Say
ahead.
that?
The guy who wrote the Chicken Soup, or like the original one, whatever. He also did some voice work for Donald Duck.
I didn't know that.
Way.
Yeah,
That's
I met
cool.
him the other day, and he was talking about it. He did a little bit of a show for us too, and he's like, "I'm the only one that you can understand." And I was like, "I didn't understand the word you said." Like,
you were at this live event with him, or?
Yeah.
That's
wow.
Cool. That's
yeah,
cool.
Well, anyways, I'm distracting you. Keep going, Brian.
No, that's great. That's great. No, I love it. These are all little nuances that are really, really fun. So, again, Zach's background is incredible. Like when I first met him, he was working with Joel Bauer, and they had just taken a company just scraping 7 figures within 14 months. And Zach, saw something really special in me. And, first thing is that this guy's going to pay me. I think that was pretty special. I was ready to pay him. I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. I had my back against the wall. I'm living at my mother-in-law's place at the time, and really, struggling to kind of get my feet back on the ground. I had been in the music industry for over a decade, and joke about how I used to live in a van down by the river singing for my supper. That's where I met Travis while I was on tour with a top 20 artist. And then got to a point where I was worked with Canadian Idol judge, and then toured all over North America on $1 million tour bus, bought my first house with music. It was a wonderful, amazing thing. And then in 2017, a month into my first son being born, things shifted. I had to start over from scratch, and again, moved in with my mother-in-law. It was a very humbling experience. And that's when I, was working at this marketing firm, and I'm reaching out to Zach to get a little bit more support and help to get stronger in some of these areas and drive more impact and income for myself and as many other people that I could in the process, because I knew that these skills were very, very strong skills that could help the masses. So, end up working with Zach, and on our first session, he saw something special in me. He's like, "Hey, dude, you do some of the things I don't do. I do some of the things you don't do. We should go into business." And I'm like, "Thank the Lord," because I had to get really creative. Again, I couldn't get a loan from a bank. I had to get really creative. We settled on a 4-month deal. Was it a 3 or 4 month?
3 months.
It was a 3 month. So it was a 90-day focus. And I was like, man, I didn't, it's not like I couldn't, but I wanted to not have to continue shelving out that cash. So the first thing he says to me is, "Brian, I'm not going to give you your money back, but here's what we're going to do. Let's go into business. You do your thing. I'll do my thing. And as soon as you pay back, you receive you collect the money receivables from our clients. And as soon as you pay off what you paid me, we'll incorporate the company and we'll go into business." Well, high level, within a month and a half, we were able to do that. We had a couple of clients hit our desk. One of them was a 5-time New York best-selling author, New York Times best-selling author, been featured on Oprah 5 times. The other one was handpicked by Wayne Gretzky for Team Canada, Olympic gold medalist, Stanley Cup champion, Theo Fleury. And, one of those individuals actually fit the mission, vision, values that we were driving. And one of them was not like the other, and it didn't fit. And so I actually had made a recommendation for someone else to work with them. And Zach was like, "You can do that? Like, you think that was probably like a $20,000-$30,000 deal, and you just literally said no to it." And I was like, "Yeah, because we would have been a slave to that. That's not doing more of the things you love with the people you love most. That's becoming a slave to someone else that I wouldn't want to introduce to my family at a barbecue. And if I can't introduce them to my family at a barbecue, why in heaven's name would I want to waste my time putting in that work? It would be more stressful." Meantime, Zach's going through, I think, was it a psychologist, or you were getting some sort of counseling at that point in time, because he was burning out from work, and he was taking those kinds of deals. And he's like, "I can't believe you can do that. I think I should sell all my shares and come work with you." And I'm like, "You're crazy. You're making way more money over there." And he's like, "I think this is what I got to do. I got to do it." And so he did. He sells the shares, and he comes into business with us. And from that point on, we were able to do some incredible things. Travis came into the picture around the time that Travis came into the picture, which obviously, again, I had met Travis a decade before, but we were we were all gunning for the same principles, the same concepts, and the same dream ultimately. So we all kind of collided in collaboration. And ultimately, we met a guy in the process that was trading in Forex. And he was also doing some binary trading, binary options. And when we saw this guy's results, ultimately, we were being hired to work with him to help him get his programs out there. We were like, "Oh my gosh, like this is probably a lot more effective than what we're doing to help people drive more impact and income so they can do more of the things they love with the people they love most." So we made a transition. Prosperity Movement is born. We end up meeting James Leone through that process. We interview him on this podcast twice. And by the second time, it was very clear that we were all in alignment. And world-renowned master trader James Leone becomes a partner in Prosperity Movement. And the rest is absolute history. Now, again, you're here because you feel a little lost in the woods with trading, and you're looking to find that roadmap. And again, we get that. We understand that, because there's thousands of companies out there today that are basically, pulling us through the hamster wheel. I won't mention the company that we experienced before this, but it was a multi-level marketing company. We've experienced, there's lots of them out there right now. But how many of you out there understand what it feels like to go through hundreds of different strategies and go through hundreds of different educators and to still feel lost? And you're jumping from strategy to strategy, and you don't seem to understand what's going on. And there's nothing more frustrating where you think and you feel like you're doing everything right and everything's lined up, and yet for some reason it's still not working, and it just, you feel like you're stuck over and over. You've got this emotional roller coaster, and it feels like you're missing these opportunities, and it's financially draining. And in a nutshell, it's almost like there's no research, there's no clarity, no consistency, and there's absolutely no freedom in it. You're feeling stuck, but nothing feels greater than when you have taken a proper trade and you've managed it well. But why is it that I'm not able to do that consistently? And that's what we want to be able to help you with today. And so with that being said, I'm going to, pass it over to Zach now, because that's really his area of expertise within our organization. Zach is an amazing analytical individual. He's been able to take an account from 500 to 90K in 90 days. And then he took another account from 1,000 to 80,000 in about a month. And so just really powerful what Zach is able to do, just based on a skill set of what would you attribute that to, Zach? I mean, you're going to talk about a few things here, but what would you attribute the fact that you're able to learn things at the level that you are?
I would say a big thing that I do is I don't judge myself if I fail, right? Every failure is a step in the right direction, is the way I look at it. And I've learned that through some hard lessons throughout my business life. Business will teach you that. Trading will teach you that faster. But
do you say you don't judge yourself on the lessons that you learn? Is that ever?
I wouldn't say ever. Mostly
when you bonked your head today.
Yes, totally judge myself.
Is that a step in the right direction?
Yes, now I need to move that cabinet or destroy it or something.
Take it to the shooting range, get rid of it.
That's right. I'll do the Office Space thing on it. Anyway, so I like to just evaluate. Hey, this just happened in the market. How come? What caused that to happen? What did I do? What was I thinking? What did the chart show? Was my thinking different than what the chart was actually telling me? Because that happened a lot early on, right? Where I'm like, I think it's going to go up. And then after reviewing it, I'm like, what was I thinking? It's obviously not going up, right? The chart is telling me. And so those are some of the things. But I think really it boils down to creating like a systemized approach. It's not willy-nilly. You're not shooting from the hip. You know what I mean? Like you're aiming. Think of it more like a sniper and less like a shotgun. And I think you'll find it to be much more effective. Something that we've been talking about a lot lately is treating your trading like a business instead of a hobby. And what Bryan was just touching on, where there's like all these different strategies and people get them mixed up and stuff like that. I've got 2 examples of people recently that I was helping in our community. One of them, he had that situation where he had multiple strategies on one chart. And guess what? His entries for every trade were all over the place. Like one entry follows one strategy, the next one follows a different strategy, the next one was like none of the strategies. I don't know what he was doing, you know? And so that gets crazy. That's not the way to do it. You have to focus on one thing at a time. And what I really like about what we do is we can actually identify, because of how we track everything. And I know it can be, when we first started tracking stuff, some of our members were a little annoyed because we were like forcing them to show us their stuff. But my goodness, even the ones that were annoyed are so grateful today because they've seen it turn everything around. Because now they're forced to look at these numbers and to see, oh my gosh, I have a certain pattern. There's a behavioral pattern happening here, and I can see it clearly. I know what to fix. I know what to work on. All right. And it provides a level of clarity that's second to none.
It's interesting that you talk about patterns, because like obviously there's patterns in the market. There's patterns in everybody's personal life. Like I don't think that people realize that everything that you are experiencing right here, right now in your life is a direct reflection of your behavior patterns.
Exactly. And then we look at the opposite side. So that guy, he had way too many strategies on one chart, right? I'm like, hey, let's clean this up. Let's work on this. This is not going to work for you very well. And then we have the opposite. Someone who has like almost nothing on his chart. And the trading plan that he had written down is essentially just for an entry. Like when this happens on the chart with my 2 indicators, right? I'm going to enter. That was his plan. What to do after you enter, who knows? What to do before you enter, even, who knows? It wasn't in his plan, right? And so there was a big lack, big empty space, and this guy's trading was all over the place, just like the other one. And those are 2 examples of someone, and then they're probably not doing it on purpose, but they're still kind of treating their trading as a hobby, right? It's like, when I have spare time, I'll work on this. And you can just tell due to the nature of their plans and their charts and their entries and all that stuff. Versus you take someone else, like our guy Luke, changing names. So our guy Luke, who was doing his darndest to have a proper plan, to follow a system, to doing everything he can, and he was still kind of struggling, and all he needed was one point of clarity, which he got from one of my sessions, and then ta-da, he's been doing great ever since. And it's been 3 weeks now, and he's still trading consistently, because he's treating it like this is my business. I need to hone this in, and he was able to systemize it, and now he just follows his system that works for him.
Mm-hmm. with respect to market research, since we're talking about, treating your trading like a business, how do people go through and do that high level research to know where to be to start knowing how to answer these things that you're answering right now? Because I think we're really focused on some of these details, but I want to pan out a little bit and get a really high level view of where people should start when they're looking to start taking their trading really seriously, whether they've been trying for a long time or are brand new to it right now. Where is that focal point of doing their research and their due diligence? Like how do they do that, in your guys' opinion?
We have a couple resources. Actually, we have 3 of them that could be beneficial. And they're all 3 trainings that we offer. One of them is called Trading Industry Exposed. So especially if you're an experienced trader, that would be a really awesome place to start, because we basically talk about some of the common pitfalls, such as just digging around for more and more strategies and stuff like that versus what you actually need, which is more support and mentorship and things like that. It talks about trading bots. That's a big common thing nowadays. People think a bot is going to just answer all their prayers. Prop firms are another one that people think, hey, this is great. I'm gonna use someone else's money, and then I'm not losing. But you still end up losing, just not your money, right? It's still a problem. And so Trading Industry Exposed would be a wonderful, wonderful resource. And then probably the second one would probably be the Trading Blueprint, which we'll talk about probably by the end of today. So
yeah, we're actually gonna have a homework assignment for those that are listening to this right now. I hope you can grab a pen and paper and get it ready. And hey, if you want to be successful at anything, you gotta put in the due diligence, right? You gotta hone in. So we do have a homework assignment for you, and we're excited to help guide you through to what you're looking to achieve. So be ready for that.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think those would be good resources, Travis?
Yeah, of course. But I think in general, people should start identifying some of the basics of what they're getting into before they rush into something. Like, just because you hear about something really shiny on how awesome bot trading is, do you really know the implications? What's the competition? What are the other options that you can use, right? What about going and swinging or scalping? Do you even know the difference? Long-term buy and holds. A lot of people think that trading is like what Warren Buffett does, which technically is, but technically not, right? So it just there's an overarching understanding of this industry in general that people should probably understand before they start making decisions, even if that's to or to not work with prosperity movement. It's equally yoked there, that you should do your due diligence and understand the big picture, so that when you start focusing in on the details of understanding and implementation, you're actually going in the right direction that suits you and what you're capable of actually doing, right? So for example, I'm not really all that technologically savvy. Okay. I'm probably better than my grandmother, but for me to go through and start coding for bots and such is probably above my pay grade, and it's not a direction I would want to go, right? And then understanding the competition or the markets in general and what you're actually trading or who you're trading against or how it's actually being traded. Those little things are important to know, I think. But it's, I think, a little easy to get too lost in the weeds as well. And so our attempt with these resources that Zach has been mentioning is to clarify without all of the hundreds of layers. Like, I can tell you how to bake a cake.
Streamline and simplify. Totally.
Streamline and simplify. I can tell you how to bake a cake with a few ingredients. I don't need to tell you the atomic makeup of the ingredients for you to be able to go do it and do it pretty well, right? So gaining clarity on just the basics of the understanding is a great first step, but it's not the end all be all, right? So for example, I went through and I knew I wanted to do something in business. I was still going through college. I fell for that trap, right? And so I catch wind that there's some guy named Johnny Slicks. He sells some really cool like men's care products, like beard care, natural ingredients for your hair, whatever. Zach, you wouldn't know about that, but And anyways, he was talking about his beard bombs, and I was like, "Oh, awesome!" I had a really long beard at that time. I looked it up. Apparently, you can make your own. I started looking up the ingredients. I can make like a tin of it for myself for like 75 cents, not exaggerating. And I knew that it was like 20, $30 to go to the store and buy one. And I was like, man, business idea. Done. And I didn't have any understanding of the retail industry whatsoever. And so I went and I bought all these kinds of the tins, the cans, the canning equipment, all the ingredients, made my own recipe, kind of like copycatting other people's stuff and threw it together, Frankensteined it together. It worked really well. A few of my friends bought it, but then I really quickly ran into an issue. It was like, I don't know retail. I don't know logistics of shipping and stuff. And I don't know how to make a website. I don't know all these other things.
Yeah.
And I rushed into the actual implementation of it without having this clear plan around everything. Yeah. That's what most people do with trading. They get really excited about the potential outcome, the fruit from planting the trees, but they have no idea how to grow those trees.
Totally.
Right? And so
it's like understanding the consequences just as well, right? So like some people that are coming through, we get a lot of people that are extremely experienced coming through here that are going to go through this and really, really get a sense that we truly do empathize with you. Like, I want you to experience that because,
I still have a memento to remind me of the failure because my very first company tanked within like 2 months. So
that's a nice trophy.
Yeah,
you know, those are good things to keep. Yeah, no, but ultimately, like again, understanding the consequences of these things. If you're new, it's nice to understand and like learn from other people's. Wisdom is to learn from other people's experience, right? And then the other thing is that you may be experiencing a lot of what is outlined, which will confirm more that, hey, guess what? Welcome home. This is the Disneyland of learning how to trade, right? This is where you get simplified and streamlined. And this is where you get, again, like not only live trading support with world-renowned master trader James Leon, just under 30,000 pips last year. We're crushing the result numbers from last year at this point. But a guy who, lost a total of 18 pips over 5 plays, like that is like insane. You get access to live trading calls with world-renowned master trader James Leon. You get small group calls with Zach. He's working with those that are needing more support, and you even get one-on-one support if you get truly stuck. You get access to 6, 7, and 8-figure earners. You get to learn and earn with those that are doing it. You can go to college or university, learn from a professor who is teaching theory and not actually implementing, or learn directly from those that are doing these things. That's the law of osmosis. You want to be hanging out with people that are doing it successfully and soaking in the information from them. And so that's where it's unparalleled here, support and accountability.
The concept there that you're saying is like, all right, if you're going to go out to sea, would you rather hop on a ship that was built by people who build ships, like the seasoned builders of ships, or would you rather go out onto a ship that was built by politicians or whatever? Like, it doesn't matter. So
on a weekend trip,
you go on the ship that's going to support you because they have had the experience. They know what they're doing, right? And if it's that simple to understand in that concept, the same thing over here, because we're talking about a life-changing skill that requires life-changing changes, that you should be led by the people who know how to do it correctly, learn from their mistakes, and don't replicate them, right? Replicate the result, not the mistake.
Yep. Amen. So good. Awesome. Well, we're kind of, we're tightening things up these days. So ultimately, the question here is, are you ready to gain clarity on your trade so you can stop gambling and start trading like a pro? It all begins with proper research. So to find out how you can gain access to the trading blueprint and all of some of the moving parts of what was expressed here, stay tuned. Before we get into that, we're going to come to a close here pretty quick. I think that Travis prepared something really special. Did you want to share that today?
Do you want me to show that?
I think it was brilliant, bro.
I wrote it just a little while ago, so it's not a fine, polished, well-tuned song yet. And it's not a song at all, but let's see, where is it? Here we go. Okay. This is just a little excerpt that I wrote, shared it with the boys today, and they liked it. So the Bible says that we are put together, joined together, built together, members together, heirs together, fitted together, and held together, and we'll be caught up together. So we might as well acknowledge that community is important, probably, right? And so while your trading journey is personal, it's not wise to keep it private. Being a member with Prosperity Movement is like being an organ in the body. A severed finger is not much just by itself. Let's say its purpose and function is revealed and utilized only when it's attached to the body. And similarly, the community here at Prosperity Movement helps you function properly, and it comes from organization, right? Mm-hmm. And so the body of Prosperity Movement includes the strategy, the systems, and the support, just like a natural body would, right? And so only the regular contact with ordinary imperfect traders and the seasoned and consistent traders can we learn what's really slowing down your trading journey. So if you're really connected and dependent, like I suggested that we were, then we should practice active engagement and fellowship, or community in general. That's the argument. So you will never grow to maturity just by attending some of our live calls or podcasts or being a passive spectator. It's only participation in the full life of Prosperity Movement's platforms that builds trading muscles. It may seem easier to trade when no one else is around to hold you accountable, but that's just false. Trading isolation breeds foolishness and advocates for a lack of accountability and clarity. Again, a severed finger is useless, and it rots and it decays. Each of us has different gifts, different callings, but we can all work together in an organization to help each other along the way and fill those holes where there are, and where some people's visions, some people's gifts and such can help fill those questions, right? So the difference between being a spectator and a member is commitment. We talk about it, we harp on it. I know it's probably annoying to you guys, but it is so true. The difference between being a spectator and a member is commitment. Passive spectators, and that includes people who are in the membership, okay? I'm not talking to people who aren't just in here, right? So passive spectators are at the sidelines while members are engaged intentionally. Spectators are consumers, while members are producers and contributors. Spectators want the benefit of community without sharing the responsibility. They're like partners who want the sex without the marriage commitment. Okay, so you become a spectator by committing yourself to the program, but you become a member by committing yourself to the community in whole, the platform. And so the first decision to become a part of the program brings education. The second one brings growth, to be a part of the community. So do you want to be just well educated, or do you want to be well developed?
That's so good. That is so good. Awesome. Love it. Thank you for the insights, Travis. And so to find out how you can gain access to this community, to find out how you can do your due diligence and prepare yourself for success, to get the trading blueprint, to make sure you're properly preparing yourself for any type of trading situation that comes your way, we want to encourage you to go to prosperitymovement.online, and at the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little chat bubble, and you can put in your information there, and then you can just put in subject line blueprint to help guide you through, and we'll get that information to you. And then you can also ask for, I think Zach was talking about the what is it, TIE?
Yeah, trading industry.
Trading industry exposed. Was there a third one that we expressed that people might want to get access to?
We can give you a sample of our of a trading plan too.
Actually, no, I want to hold that off for next week.
Okay.
We can give all of this once we connect, absolutely get the blueprint and actually connect with us and be part of our conversation.
Yeah.
So we can talk to you. We're real people. We have, we have a trading or an AI bot that can talk to you, but we are real people. We want to connect with you one-on-one. But next week, to kind of tee us up for next week, we're going to continue talking about how trading should be treated like it's a business. And so next week, we're going to talk about the trading plan and how to actually put everything together in an organized fashion. And that's where we'll open up the opportunity just to get that one as well. But if you want it early, you can connect with us, go through the blueprint, and we'd love to engage and actually finalize and answer the rest of your questions about how you can get started or how you can go from being lost in the woods to having your roadmap ahead of you.
So good. So we're going to need to talk to Aaron and the team to make sure that we tee that up properly for next week. Yes. Obviously, you just did that here on the podcast, so we'll get the team to get us all organized with that. And then your homework assignment is to spend some time researching and familiarize yourself with the market in general and a currency pair in particular before making a trade. So we want to challenge you with that. That's your homework assignment in conjunction with reaching out for Ty, in conjunction with reaching out for the blueprint. Get through that content. Instead of watching Netflix, watch some money flicks. We got some prosperity flicks for you over here, completely complimentary. So reach out for that, and we'll see you next week.
Yes.
Adios. God
Bye
bless.
for now. Cheers.